Let me ask you something. What if I told you that there's one cryptocurrency, just one, that might be able to survive a Bitcoin collapse? Not only survive, but actually grow, thrive, and potentially deliver massive returns while the rest of the market crumbles. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, it's not. In fact, what you're about to hear could change the way you look at investing in crypto forever. The name of this coin? XRP. And by the time you finish this video, you'll understand exactly why so many experts believe XRP could be the single altcoin capable of resisting Bitcoin's risks and delivering gains no one's expecting. So make sure you hit that like button right now. And if you care about your financial future, subscribe to this channel because here, we talk about money in a way no one else is willing to. You see, most young investors make the same mistake. They think Bitcoin is untouchable, the gold standard of crypto. But history shows us something dangerous. Every financial system has weaknesses. Every revolution has cracks. And Bitcoin, despite being the king, has a massive problem nobody's talking about enough: scalability, regulatory risk, and centralization of mining. Imagine pouring your money into an asset that could one day be cornered by regulators, or fail to adapt to the real-world speed and cost demands of financial institutions. And don't get me wrong, I own Bitcoin, but ignoring its flaws is the fastest way to financial disaster. Now, this is where XRP enters the conversation like a silent giant. Most people have no idea. XRP isn't just another cryptocurrency. XRP was designed from the ground up, not to be a speculative asset, but to be the backbone of global money transfers. Banks use it. Financial institutions rely on it. And while most cryptos are busy selling promises, XRP is already solving real problems. Right now, behind the scenes. Think about this. Moving money across countries today is still painfully slow. Wire transfers, days, fees. Ridiculous. XRP was built to make cross-border payments instant, with near zero fees. And that, my friend, is the kind of utility that doesn't disappear when the market turns red. In fact, it becomes even more valuable. Imagine a scenario where the absolute dominance of the US dollar begins to collapse. We're talking about a future where economies around the world are seeking alternatives to escape dependence on the dollar for international transactions. And here comes a detail that almost no one notices. XRP is already positioned exactly at this strategic point. The Ripple protocol not only enables fast and cheap transactions but also eliminates the need to use fiat currencies as intermediaries. This means a bank in Europe can transfer money to a bank in Asia without going through the dollar. This disruption could literally redraw the world's economic map. And guess what? While the media talks about superficialities, institutions are quietly testing and implementing this technology. XRP is not just a cryptocurrency. It's a bridge to a borderless financial system, and those who understand this early have the chance to ride one of the greatest transformation waves of the last 100 years. Central banks are, right now, preparing for a silent attack against Bitcoin and any other asset they can't control. Why? Because Bitcoin represents a direct threat to the monopoly that governments hold over money creation and distribution. But here's the blind spot most investors miss. While Bitcoin fights against the system, XRP is part of it. While Bitcoin is seen as a tool to escape the banks, XRP is the tool banks are beginning to use to modernize. This is not theory. It's agreements, partnerships, and integrations happening every month behind the scenes. This puts XRP in a position where it doesn't need to fight the global financial system. It simply improves it. Few people realize, but XRP could become a key player in one of the most sensitive topics in modern geopolitics: economic sanctions. Today, governments use the SWIFT system to block transactions from sanctioned countries. But imagine a world where countries can bypass these sanctions using a decentralized, fast, and extremely cheap network. This isn't science fiction. There are already studies and movements from countries looking for SWIFT alternatives, and Ripple frequently appears in those discussions. This positions XRP not just as a settlement currency, but as a symbol of economic freedom for nations trying to escape the grip of the United States and its allies. And that, my friend, opens up an ocean of opportunities. And of course, controversies. Have you ever imagined buying property anywhere in the world, without bureaucracy, without absurd exchange rates, and without waiting weeks for financial settlement? Well, That's already happening in pilot projects involving XRP and the global real estate market. Companies are testing smart contracts linked to Ripple's blockchain, where payment in XRP makes the settlement practically instant, even for high-value purchases. This solves a massive problem in the market: the slowness and cost of transferring large sums internationally. And if this becomes standard, the luxury real estate market, investments, and even corporate rentals could be revolutionized, all centered around XRP. The rise of artificial intelligence isn't just transforming companies and industries. It's quietly accelerating the adoption of financial technologies like XRP. AI platforms are being integrated into the compliance and risk analysis systems of large banks and institutions. And guess what? They're increasingly recommending Ripple blockchain solutions to reduce operational costs and mitigate risks. This means the financial automation of the future will be programmed to choose the most efficient path. And that path, most of the time, goes through XRP. The question is, do you want to be on the side of those still trying to understand the game, or with those who've already programmed it in their favor? There's a silent revolution happening, and it's called micropayments. Imagine paying a few cents to access an online article, watch part of a movie, or even compensate artists directly for seconds of content consumed. Today, that's practically unfeasible with traditional systems due to transaction fees. But XRP completely changes that game. With fees under 1 cent and instant settlement, it enables new business models where small amounts of money can move globally in real time. This not only transforms the internet, but also opens space for a new, inclusive, and accessible digital economy. The NFT market seems dominated by Ethereum, right? Wrong. What almost no one notices is that Ripple is developing robust solutions for asset tokenization, and we're not just talking about digital art. We're talking about real estate, contracts, debt, fractional shares, and anything that can be digitally represented. And you know what's the difference? While Ethereum struggles with high fees and slow speeds, XRP delivers speed, near-zero cost, and scalability. This positions Ripple to dominate a trillion-dollar market that goes far beyond traditional NFTs, the market of tokenized assets, which is expected to surpass trillions of dollars in the next decade. You know that concept of programmable money? Imagine companies being able to program automatic payments to suppliers, salaries released instantly upon task completion, or royalties paid the exact second a product is sold. This is not the future. It's already being developed using Ripple and XRP technology. Global companies are beginning to test smart contracts on Ripple's blockchain, creating financial automations that reduce fraud, operational costs, and human error. And those who master this technology will simply control the next revolution of the global economy. The future of cryptocurrencies isn't about one blockchain beating them all. It's about interoperability, the ability of different blockchains to communicate with each other. And this is where Ripple is a few steps ahead. XRP's architecture allows it to function as a liquidity hub between different blockchains, fiat currencies, and digital assets. This means that in the future, when a user wants to convert Bitcoin to dollars, euros, Ethereum, or any other asset, it's very likely that behind the scenes, it's XRP making that conversion happen, invisibly, quickly, and extremely cheaply. There's a silent but extremely powerful reason that's putting XRP in the crosshairs of major institutional funds: sustainability. While Bitcoin takes massive criticism for its absurd energy consumption, XRP's network is extremely efficient, with a near-zero carbon footprint. In a world where companies are being pressured by shareholders, governments, and consumers to adopt ESG, environmental, social, governance practices, XRP becomes not just a logical choice, but an almost mandatory one. That means billion-dollar funds, public companies, and institutional investors are increasingly inclined to include XRP in their portfolios, not just for profit, but because the world now demands environmental responsibility. And if you're enjoying this so far, do me a favor. Pause for 1 second, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't yet. This channel exists to open your eyes to the kind of financial knowledge most people will never share with you. And trust me, what comes next is going to blow your mind. Here's the reality nobody wants to admit. Bitcoin's dominance won't last forever. Markets evolve. The internet replaced newspapers. Streaming killed cable. And in crypto, the coins that solve real problems will be the last ones standing. XRP isn't betting on hype. XRP isn't hoping for mass adoption one day. It's already embedded into financial systems. Companies like Santander, American Express, Bank of America, they've all tested, partnered, or explored XRP's technology. This is massive. It's the difference between betting on a garage startup or investing in the technology that the banks themselves are preparing to use. And let me give you an analogy that'll make this crystal clear. Imagine you're investing in the gold rush. Most people are busy chasing the gold, hoping to strike it rich. But the ones who became millionaires were the ones selling the shovels. XRP isn't the gold. It's the shovel. It's the infrastructure. Whether Bitcoin goes up or down, or sideways, XRP provides the rails for money to move. And that, my friend, is why this altcoin has a fighting chance no matter what happens to Bitcoin. But it gets even more interesting when you look at the legal side. For years, XRP has been locked in a brutal lawsuit with the SEC, one that scared retail investors away and suppressed its price. But here's the thing, that lawsuit? It's not just a risk, it's also an opportunity. While the mainstream ran from XRP, smart investors saw something others didn't. A chance to get in before clarity comes. And spoiler alert, XRP recently secured a major legal win, pushing it one step closer to being one of the only cryptos in the US with regulatory clarity. Do you realize how big that is? In a world where most altcoins are skating on thin ice legally, XRP could be one of the few that walks out of this storm stronger than ever. And look, if this is opening your eyes, let me know by smashing that like button. It tells YouTube to show this to more people who need to hear it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because this isn't just a channel. This is a movement of people who are done with being left behind financially. Let's talk numbers for a second. XRP's transaction speed is 1,500 transactions per second. Compare that to Bitcoin's 7, or Ethereum's 15. XRP settles payments in 3 to 5 seconds. Bitcoin, anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour depending on congestion. And when it comes to fees, XRP charges a fraction of a cent Bitcoin, sometimes upwards of $20, even $60 in peak congestion. Now ask yourself, which technology do you think banks and corporations will prefer when moving billions globally every single day? And here's something that really drives it home. A quote from Warren Buffett, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." Right now, most people are fearful about XRP. They don't understand it. They avoid it. And that's exactly when smart money positions itself. Look at history. The greatest fortunes were made not during booms, but during moments of uncertainty. And the XRP story is still being written. But I need to be clear, this isn't financial advice. You should always do your own research. But ignoring XRP, pretending it doesn't exist, could be one of the biggest blind spots for new investors in this decade. You don't have to go all in. You don't have to risk everything. But understanding why XRP is different is not optional if you're serious about building wealth in this new financial era. So, if you made it this far, first, thank you. You're part of a very small percentage of people who don't just scroll aimlessly. You're here because you care about your future. And I respect that. Now, if you found value here, drop a like, because that's how we fight the algorithm. And subscribe, because every week we bring you the kind of financial education that school never taught you, but that your future desperately depends on. And before you go, let me leave you with this. The future belongs to those who are prepared. The financial system is changing whether you're ready or not. The only question is, are you going to watch it happen, or are you going to position yourself to thrive in it? The choice is yours. I'll see you in the next video.